Hi everyone, Josh here. I hope you're all doing well. So in today's video, I want to talk about Amazon FBA and the 4 questions you should be asking yourself before you get started with the Amazon FBA business. So if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you are either just getting started or you're thinking about getting started selling on Amazon. If you're not, then this video might not be for you, but if you are in that situation right now, let me talk to you about what these 4 things are. There are probably a few other questions you want to ask yourself as well, but from my perspective, having helped quite a few people get started with Amazon before, I want to talk to you about some of the questions and hang-ups that perhaps people have ahead of time that if they perhaps have answered them before, might have been an easier transition into the business. So number 1, the first question I think you should ask yourself is, where are you going to source your stock from? Because let's face it, on Amazon, you can buy near enough anything, so long as it's legal, moral, ethical, and even sometimes not in those circumstances, not in those cases, but there's not much on Amazon that you can't buy. Therefore, the world is your oyster with regard to what you want to sell. But there are a few considerations you need to make in terms of your budget, in terms of access to these things, in as far as where you're going to get your stock from. So your first option is to import from China. You could go to a big Chinese wholesale site, a Chinese manufacturing site, or perhaps you've got means of contacting a factory over in China. So with that option, you could just import from China. The trouble with importing from China is that you've got to do it in some sort of bulk order, and that comes with a few extra complications. It's a perfectly viable strategy for selling on Amazon. I do it myself, and so do some of my clients as well. But it's probably not the best place to start. If you're looking at getting started on Amazon, importing from China is quite a high barrier to entry. You don't have to spend thousands, but more often than not, it costs quite a bit to get your first order sorted, and there are a lot of complications and questions along the way. And if you're not already familiar with the Amazon ecosystem, it can be quite intimidating. So number 2, your second option would be to buy in bulk from a wholesaler. Now, buying in bulk from wholesale, once again, a perfectly valid solution, perfectly valid option for sourcing stock for your Amazon business. However, once again, the barrier to entry here is quite high. So from my perspective, first of all, the most challenging thing is actually finding a wholesaler who has pricing that is preferential enough for you to actually make a profit on Amazon. Because as I'm sure you'll be aware, when you sell on Amazon, there are fees. Amazon charge you a commission for selling on their platform. Naturally, they're well within their rights to do that. They are sending you the business, so they charge you a commission. So we not only need to be able to have enough profit to pay for that commission, but we also need to have enough profit to make it worth our while as well. So wholesale tends to work on, it's more of a numbers game. You have to buy lots and make small margins, but you make, because you're selling in volume, you're making lots of small margin, which in the end works out at a healthy profit. But once again, unless you've got big deep pockets and the right connections, it's going to be quite difficult to get started selling wholesale stuff. Another option is that you source from local suppliers. Some people have actually gone into local stores and said, can I put your products on Amazon for a commission, which is, again, a perfectly viable way of doing that. Or perhaps you've got someone who makes products locally and you want to get selling those on Amazon. That, once again, is an option. But more often than not, those products are not listed on Amazon. Amazon operates on a catalog system. And if it doesn't already have a listing on Amazon that you can put your offer against, then once again, the barrier to entry is a little bit higher, because you have to take photographs, write descriptions, source. If the product is a brand new product, then you have to get a barcode. You have to buy a barcode, because you can't just put a random string of numbers together and say that's my barcode. You have to actually buy that from the governing body who looks after all the barcodes. So that is an option, but once again, barrier to entry is a little higher. And similarly with making your own products, time. You've got time there. I know people who manufacture their own products at home, they assemble them at home, they do well out of that, but again, their time is directly related to the output of their business. So if they can only make 5 of a product that they're selling per day, and that's all their time, then they've got no other time to be spending on other things. So making your own products, again, perfectly viable solution, but it's not really scalable to a point. So what else is there? What other options do you have? What other options do you have when selling on Amazon? Well, I specialize specifically in 2 very similar strategies where we buy products from online and retail stores at a lower price and resell them back on Amazon for a profit. Most people kind of raise their eyebrows at that. Think, can you do that? Is that allowed, first of all? How does that even work? Why would people pay more on Amazon when they could just buy it cheaper elsewhere? Well, there's lots of reasons for that, and in fact, I've got a free training where we go. It's a couple of hours long, and we go into detail in that and many other topics around this particular strategy of sourcing products and reselling them on Amazon for a profit. And there's a link below this video if you're interested in going having a watch of that. It's free to watch, so no obligation or anything like that. But anyway, that's another option that you have. And if you're just getting started on Amazon, I think buying products from retail and online stores and reselling them on Amazon for a profit is probably one of the lowest barrier to entry starting places for a new Amazon seller, simply because you can just dip your toe in the water and test a few products out and see how it works. And it's scalable. You can outsource a lot of it eventually. You do a lot of it yourself to begin with, but once you get to a point where you're got some decent money coming in, you can start asking other people to do various bits in the business for you. So that's question number one. You need to establish first of all where you're going to get your stock from. I recommend sourcing from online and retail stores, like I say, if you want to find out more about that, click the link below and go and watch my free training. Number two, you need to ask yourself, how much time do you have to invest? I get to speak to a lot of different people getting started as Amazon sellers, and a lot of them have, heard the what's it called, the highlight reel of people's experiences selling on Amazon. There is, of course, the opposite side of it. Starting any kind of business takes time, and so you've got to put some kind of time in up front. It's more front-loaded in terms of your time investment, and once you have everything set up and everything's kind of running, you can take a bit of a step back and things will run without you. But there is time that needs to be spent in it. So how much time do you have available to dedicate every day, every week, every month? Can you spare 1 hour a day, maybe 2 hours per day? Or perhaps you are in a situation where you're ready to go all in. Perhaps due to COVID, you've been made redundant, you've lost your job, or you're on furlough, you've got time to spare. If that's the case, then I highly recommend you go all in on Amazon as soon as you possibly can, because it is it's a space where anybody can get involved once you know how. And if you've got the time, it's well worth spending your time on, in my opinion. And it's one of those things where whatever you put into it is exactly what you get out. You put 1 hour a week in, you're going to get 1 hour's worth of results back out. You put 10 hours worth of work in each week, you're going to get 10 hours worth of results back out. You get out of this business what you put into it. So the more time you can spend on it, the more you're going to get out. And if you've got goals, lofty goals to get to, strong income levels in a very short space of time, then the more time you can put in today, the quicker you're going to get to where you want to be. So question number two, how much time do you have to invest? How much time can you dedicate to an Amazon business? Question number three, how much money do you have to invest? So time is probably the biggest investment, or at least in my opinion, because money replenishes itself every month. Especially if you've got a regular job, you get paid every single month, and when that's gone, next month you get another paycheck. Perhaps you get paid weekly, or I don't know. But either way, money tends to replenish, right? But time doesn't. We've only got so much time on this planet. We only have so much time in a day. We only have so much time that we can spend doing things. So that's why I see time as an investment. Like, you're putting time to something, you're investing that, because it's not wasted, it's not spent, it's invested. You're investing your time, because investment suggests that you get something back out of it. You put something in, you get something back out, and that's what happens with trading time for money on Amazon. Anyway, so question number three, how much money do you have to invest? Because money is, again, an investment that we have to make here. How much money are you willing to commit to your new business? Are you looking for an opportunity where you don't have to put any money down, but you can get started with? If so, Amazon is doable, it's achievable, but it will take you a lot longer to get to where you might want to be eventually. You can just start off by selling a few bits and pieces from around the house, but that you have to do that with the right guidance, because Amazon can get quite picky about certain products depending upon how you advertise the condition of them. You're best if you're selling used products and they are brand new. If you're just getting started, it's best to sell them as pre-owned, as used anyway. But anyway, we won't get into that here and now. But you can get started if you don't have any money. However, it's that much more difficult. It would be better if you had some money to spare to put into this. I made a typo here, or autocorrect is corrected. It says I'm prepared to deviate. That's supposed to say dedicate. I'm prepared to dedicate a percentage of my disposable income to Amazon business. So if that's you, if you have some disposable income, which most people do, and most people don't necessarily believe that they do, but perhaps you get a takeaway once a week and have a Costa every morning or something like that. So if you just don't do that, then you've got disposable income you can dedicate to a business. But other people, yeah, you've probably got something you could dedicate, perhaps £100 a month, £200 a month, £500 a month, depends what you do and how much money you've got coming in. But if you're looking to get started, whatever you can dedicate to this is going to help. It's going to help you to get to where you want to be faster. Perhaps you have you've been holding some cash back, saving some cash up to find the right business model that you can go all in with. And if that's the case, then the people that I've seen that are able to come in with £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 plus to get started with their stock have just gone off with a bang, have done very, very well, very, very quickly, made a return on their investment very quick in a very short space of time, have been able to grow their businesses at an unprecedented level that, if you come in with a smaller investment, that perhaps you wouldn't be able to do quite so quickly. But anyway, it's relative. It's like anything. The more time you put in, the more money you put in, the quicker you're going to have results out. So that's the third question you need to ask yourself: how much money do you have to invest? And question number 4, I see this a lot. People asking, should I go this journey alone? Should I do it on my own? Should I do it with a friend? Should I do it with a family member? What have you? So let's take a look at your options. Do you plan on working with someone else on your Amazon FBA business? Lots of people kind of like the idea of going into business with a friend. I'll talk about that in just a moment, because the first point here is that I want to do it. Some people just want to do it alone. They kind of, their family or friends would frown upon them, or they might make fun of them. Perhaps you've tried other make money online opportunities before and they've failed, and friends and family have mocked you. Believe me, I've been there. Like, I've been mocked and laughed at so many times for all the things I've tried online over the years. Perhaps you just kind of want to keep it to yourself for the time being. If that's you, and that's the situation you're in, I'd recommend you just crack on like that. Don't tell anyone, and go prove everybody wrong with your results, because Amazon is certainly using the models that we specialize in here. You can get positive results very, very quickly. So if you want to do this alone, go for it. But there is one thing I'd recommend, which I'll add on in just a moment. So we get a lot of people that want to go into business with a friend or family member because it sounds exciting. Like at the beginning, it's exciting. It's like, hey, do you want to do this with me? We can open a big business bank account together. We can go buy stock together. We can do this, and that's great. It all seems great to begin with. But I'm going to give a word of warning here, because I rarely see it go well, especially in this type of business, especially if you are, just starting to dabble in it. Because what's going to happen eventually, one of you, probably not you sitting here watching this video because you're the type that's dedicated to go and look for this information, but your friend or family member, whoever you decide to rope into it and come and do this with you, they're not going to have the same drive as you, at least probably. It very, very rarely works out the right way. So I've had lots of successful partnerships in my business life and some not so successful ones. And the ones that don't go well, the main reason they don't is because there's a difference in drive, there's a difference in ambition, there's a difference in dedication, there's a difference in time that people are allowed to have available to spend. So one of you, you might have a lot more time than your friend or family member. At the beginning you're going to be like, oh, it's fine, and eventually they'll be helping me, but then they'll probably just see that you're doing all the work and kind of kick back and think, oh, this is great. Josh is doing all the work, I don't have to do anything here. So you want to try and avoid that. So I would give a word of caution. If you're thinking about going into business with a friend or family member, I would caution you away from that. Instead, I would consider option 3, and that you would do it along with someone else for the accountability. So if you're interested in getting started as an Amazon FBA seller, then I'd recommend you find a friend or family member or someone that you know who also does it, but you kind of have your own business entities. You do the same thing together, but separately, if that makes sense. So you have your own concern, they have their own concern, and that way, if one of you decides to pack it in at any point, the other one's not affected or impacted. Because if you're working with friends and family, you don't want to ruin relationships. And if you're doing it for accountability, doing it together, you can still have all that excitement and fun and everything that goes with it, but have your own separate entity. At least that's my recommendation, only based upon what I have seen with the people that I've worked with and my own personal experiences. So those are the 4 questions that I think you should ask yourself before getting started in an Amazon FBA business. If there, like I said, there are probably more questions, and I'll be intrigued to know if you've got any more thoughts. So leave them in the comments section below. Let me know if you've got any other considerations that you think people should have, or perhaps you've got some questions for me based upon what we've talked about here today so far. But either way, if you've enjoyed the video, be sure to give me a like. I always appreciate the appreciation from you guys if you've enjoyed it and you found it useful. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be putting out lots more content like this over the coming months and years. And thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you again real soon, guys. Thank you.